After studying Fahad Bayo's case against his former club Viskov, that has been instructed by FIFA to compensate him about 55,000 US dollars for terminating his contract without just cause. This brings us back into the Uganda Premier League and especially this East African region where many clubs terminate players' contracts. And at the end of the day, when some of these players go and report to some of these football governing bodies, nothing is done concerning some of these things. I think this is one thing that has to be actually brought out into the books, especially in this Uganda here right now, that many players whose contracts are being terminated without just cause should be compensated duly, and some of these clubs, even if they don't compensate some of these players, a fine or a sort of punishment should be levied upon them. But also on the side of some of the clubs, many of these players will complain against these clubs and bring up cases of unjust termination of their contracts, and yet some of the players themselves are the problems. These players actually sometimes when they probably don't have a match in the week, or maybe when they have a match like on Saturday or Sunday, many of them prefer to actually go and play some of these quick fix tournaments, especially those ones that will give them little money, maybe 10 to $20 or even 30 and $40 per match. So this is also something that has to be looked through. Many of these clubs might be fined. Many of them will be instructed to pay some of these players, but also on the players' side, some of the things are actually not done well, and that is the reason why some of these teams actually terminate these contracts. But for some of these clubs in the country that have probably gone bankrupt or are unable to pay some of these players, if these players actually report, this is something that should have actually been done by FIFA to make sure that if any club is going into administration and they are not going to be able to afford their wages, they are not going to be able to afford their day-to-day operations, something has to be done to make sure that these players don't end up in situations like having to demand for their wages for over 3, 4, 5, or even 6 months. This is something that has to be done as stakeholders in this game. FIFA, all the clubs and the players should always find a mutual way of terminating contracts so that everyone is happy and everyone goes ahead to do what they're supposed to do perfectly. Thank you so much. See you.